and welcome to the Crypto Divas with me, Gillian Gottsell, and my co-host Morgan Pierce. And each week we try to interview somebody from the very busy ICO marketplace. And today I'm delighted to say we have Oskars Priede, I'm getting that wrong, I apologize now, who is the founder and CEO of EHO. So welcome to the Crypto Divas, Oskar.
Hey.
Thank you for being here. So first of all, let me kick off and say EHO, this is a very unique product. I really like it. So tell me a bit about your project and how you came up with your team.
Yes, so EHO that's the way we say it. We chose this name from the Greek language, which says like voice, So we let this horse speak about the way it feels under the weight of riders, under the rider's weight. So we can use our technology, which is smart textiles technologies, for different applications because we have made the sensor from textiles that can sense pressure and also stretching. But we chose this specific application, which is a smart saddle pad for horses, and so we can monitor is the weight of the rider distributed along the horseback evenly or not. So that's the main concept.
Wow.
And so what it's for riders. What's the purpose of the? What problem are you solving?
Yeah, so in many cases, even those riders who really pay attention to, the particular horse's saddle and whether it fits well or not, during the training, they change a lot actually, like humans do when they do sports. So every now and then, basically like minimum twice a year, you should, check the saddle, whether it fits well or not. And in many cases, you can't really see, minor changes, or you can't feel them with your hands. So you might think it's all okay, but actually you're harming your horse because there are some, hot spots that bear, almost all the load of the rider, and that's not good for the horse. So you can really get into trouble, permanent injuries, back problems, lameness, and so we let the rider monitor, like, during the training, how is this load, if it's evenly distributed or not, and that's the main crucial point. And currently in the market there are some quite sophisticated and really expensive solutions for that, mainly used by some vet clinics and maybe saddle fitters, but they're not mobile, they're not affordable. They would start around, like, I would say, like 5,000 euros a piece, which meant for very specific cases. Then probably not everybody can afford that. But so our aim is to make a saddle pad that is 10 times cheaper and suitable for everyday use.
Yeah, no, my daughter, as we discussed before, is a qualified saddle fitter. So you're speaking her language. She totally understands that it's not the saddle. You just buy the saddle. Like when I bought my saddle about 10 years ago, that was it. I had the one saddle and I didn't change it. And now I know, because of her training, that you have to. The horse is in condition or not in condition, and there's a lot of. We're quite heavy. Horses are not really meant to have humans on them. You have to be very careful about how you apply that pressure. So it's a great idea. And also, you're right, the solutions out there at the moment are quite expensive. So it's nice to see.
Julian, good news for you. I mean, maybe it is the case that using the smart saddle pad, you can realize that your saddle still is okay. It needs just a little adjustment, and so your daughter can do that as a saddle fitter. So that's the main idea. Just to give information and eliminate all the worries or possible things that we might think of, is our horse well, and all these things. It's also a bit emotional touch to this, and so we're into this aspect of riders' world as well.
That's fascinating. And who is your target audience for the smart saddle pad?
Well, I would say it's quite wide range. It could be saddle fitters for their they are really good at actually seeing and feeling whether the saddle fits or not, but as an objective measurement, just to show their customers why the saddle should be changed or fitted, or but then of course riders themselves, professional riders, to improve horse experience under the saddle, because if it hurts to the horse, then it is not, performing as good as it could. So that, of course, influences the results in different competitions. And then the remaining part, which is all the enthusiasts, the horse owners basically. But because those who ride a horse, they don't really pay that much attention to horse well-being. But the horse owners, this is like a family member. So.
Tell me about it. We have too many family members at the moment.
Yeah.
So tell me, is there like an MVP or can it be downloaded? Is there an app that links up with the sensor?
The MVP is currently under development. We have a working prototype. We have been running quite many tests with real horses, with speaking with riders, saddle fitters, and currently we're developing MVP. And the app, it's not in the first phase of the product, because we decided to go and to treat this saddle pad as an instrument. So it will come with a wireless screen, a separate screen that is in a small pocket, in this saddle pad. So basically, what you can do is take out the screen, switch it on, and see instantly the information that of course visually expressed, so that people can actually understand what they see. And in the next phase, what I see next year, so when we have the second generation of the product, we're going to introduce also data services, which is then through the mobile app, we can push the data to the server, analyze the riding patterns of particular riders, and then give some notion or some feedback about the riding manner, and then maybe there would be some suggestions about balance, rhythm, and stuff like that. So when we have enough critical mass of saddle pad users, we can then come up with some added value data services for the riders. Right. That's the long-term or mid-term goal for us.
Right. Very good. And tell us about how you're thinking of growing your business, number of users that you're hoping to capture, which, is it a global product, markets, how are you going to tackle growing your business?
Yeah. I wouldn't speculate on, very specific numbers here, because I could invent anything right now and just say it. But I have to say that our strategy is to focus primarily on UK and Ireland, as, equestrian industry is really well settled, as you guys know better than me. Then we see Sweden as very, a market with high potential, because, purchasing power is there. People really do care about each other and animals and stuff. So all the environment is very open for this. And I have enormous amount of horses, actually. Not that many as in UK, but anyway. Well, then France, Germany, North America, Arab Emirates, actually also, because they have... and funny enough, China is emerging currently as, it becomes like extremely popular to own a horse, and horse, equestrian clubs are developing like a, massive scale currently. It's difficult to say whether this market is structurized well enough, and would we be capable of actually addressing that market? But this is also one of the options.
Well, do you know what's interesting about that? For example, with China, how they've come on leaps and bounds in terms of sustainable energies and uptake, because they've kind of jumped that intermediaries phase. So the same with the horse clubs that are booming in China. There's possibly a chance that people will go from just owning a horse to wanting to have the best for the horse. So you could be very well placed on that. So tell me about the ICO and the different caps, the hard cap and soft cap, and how you're planning to do that to raise the money.
Yes. So the hard cap for the ICO is $1.75 million US. And the soft cap is, if I'm not mistaken, $950,000 US. And the idea behind the ICO is quite simple. In our case, it's basically we're issuing like a private money and for fundraising purposes, and we're planning to ensure that the token increases in its value, because we're going to use tokens. I mean, to sell our products. So customers who buying the smart saddle pad would be either they would be buying those in tokens. If they're not that familiar with the crypto world, then they would be capable of buying the smart saddle pad in fiat, and then we would exchange that to tokens. So we would continuously make sure the token is in the circulation, and also I would say where one of the aspects for the token is that it would probably also become a part of data services that is in the second phase of the second generation product that I mentioned before.
Yeah, because you could use the token to be the manner in which the data is purchased, and so you can require people who want the information that you have gathered to purchase that information in the token itself. So
it could be also used for different rewards in data services. Or I've been thinking also about the gamification aspect. I mean, if we have data and if we have sufficient number of users, we could introduce some gamification aspect to this community, and tokens then are very good for this. So it's really difficult to precisely say about the future, but the initial phase is that we see token as a private money, as means of raising funds and letting people, the investors, to add value to their asset, in this case, EHO token.
And it seems, I must say, the hard cap seems quite modest. So you've obviously figured out what you need. So you're not just raising millions for the sake of raising millions. You've costed out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, sometimes it's really ridiculous how, people just, as you said, raise 10 or 20 million just for the sake of raising 10 or 20 million. I've calculated quite precisely how much do we need for 24 months roadmap in our case. And of course, I added some, a bit extra to just as a reserve, but because you never know how our path will go actually. But so that's our funds requirement, just to address the initial markets, and already when shipping the first batch of this simple product without the app and data services, these funds would help us to recruit people and outsource services to come up with the data services, which also includes deep machine learning, the artificial intelligence. It sounds like a very trendy thing, but actually in our case, it's the thing, because you would have loads of data. Imagine we have about 60 sensors in each saddle pad. Each sensor measures data about 5 times a second. So it's massive amounts of data that we can push to service, and then let the machine, the neural networks, to analyze this data, and then we can classify then the data, like correct writing, incorrect writing, and then to compare incoming data to users' data, to understand whether that person's writing manner is something to be improved, or it's good, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, I would be very embarrassed to show anybody the results of my writing.
Me too.
Oh dear. Listen, that's a very interesting project. I love it. It's real world, and I love the whole thing, because my daughter is so into this area, but I love the idea of making it a more comfortable experience, a better experience for rider and horse. And I think that's very important. We are learning as a world. I think we're learning much more so in this equine community, that it is important. It's not just any old saddle. You just don't just chuck the saddle on and off you go. There needs to be more care given to these amazing animals. So I think it's a great project. I wish you every success.
Thank you.
And just for the people that are listening and wondering, Oskar, where are you based, and where are you conducting this interview from?
Yes, EHO team is based in Riga. Riga is the capital of Latvia. Well, Latvia is a tiny country in European Union, actually, and we're on the east side of Europe. We have very bright and talented people here. So the two scientists in Riga Technical University came up with this idea, and actually technology, about the textile sensors. So so we are based in Riga, and I don't see big reason to moving somewhere else. But of course, we would travel quite a lot to different trade shows and equestrian type of events.
And you have to come to Dublin in August.
We can come to the horse show in August.
Yeah.
That's the horse show here in August is absolutely huge. So
definitely.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm so delighted and envious that you're outdoors and I'm not. Yes. It's been a real pleasure to look at you. Nice. It's been a real pleasure to interview you today, and really, we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Good talking to you. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye bye.